This is Annapolis, and these are the midshipmen who make up the brigade of the United States Naval Academy. These are their stories, full of their laughter, their heartache, their tragedies and triumphs. The stories of the men of Annapolis. The Army game is the climax of every Navy football season. In a jam-packed stadium, the team carries with it the hearts and hopes of the entire brigade and thousands of rooters all over the world. To someday make the Navy team with its responsibilities and its honors is the fervent dream of many a midshipman.
I understand you're going out for the varsity this year, Mr. Towner.
Well, if I do, I won't be in danger of being bilged off the squad for an unsatin scholastic standing. Like some lugs I know, Mr. Cullen.
Oh, that's right. You're real smart.
A man mountain in beef and a midget in brains. So I'm going out for the squad.
Now, boy, Tiger, you'll tear him to pieces.
Look, you big lug, the way you talk, you'd think you had a tackle spot on the squad cinched.
Hasn't he?
Big deal, just because he's a couple pounds heavier than me.
That's not very good English. Yeah, like the Missouri's a couple of pounds heavier than a canoe.
Yeah? Well, an ounce of dynamite is a bigger man than a church steeple.
Oh, rub that green dust out of your eyes, Squirt. Yeah, back down and change course, little man.
Go ahead, laugh. I'm still going out for the team.
Good man.
Yeah, now the coach will have nothing to worry about this year. Right now, you're going out for class.
It's good to see so many of you men out for the squad. Now, I don't have to tell you that while some of you'll make the team, some of you won't. But as individuals, the thing of greatest importance to each one of you is that you give everything you have to the fullest of your ability all the time. That's what makes a Navy team go. That's what makes the Navy go. And not one of you need feel ashamed or discouraged as long as you know in your heart you've given your best. Now, the candidates from last year's plebe squad take the north end of the field under Lieutenant Norton. Last year's varsity men, the south end of the field under Lieutenant Groves. Let's go! The rest of you, gather around me here. Mr. Towner, isn't it?
Midshipman Towner, 3rd class, sir.
You're reporting for the varsity?
Yes, sir.
Who issued you that gear?
Well, it's not a mistake, sir. It's only the smallest size available, sir.
How much do you weigh, Mr. Towner?
129 3/4, sir. I'm a lot heavier than last year. I gained almost 3 pounds.
Still a little light for football.
Why, Dickie Pratt, one of the greatest quarterbacks Navy ever had, wasn't much heavier than me. Sir?
Mr. Towner, what was it you told me when you reported for the plebe squad last year?
Well, then an ounce of dynamite is a bigger man than a church steeple, sir?
That's it. Be a good thing to remember. All of you. All right. What's it?
Ooh, I can't look. It's murder.
That Towner's something, isn't he? Well, I always know where to look for him. Right in the bottom of the pile.
Let's go. Come on, you better not.
That's no way to go in there. You guys call that running?
Did he get up?
Yeah, he always gets up. The harder you hit him, the higher he bounces.
Hey, you still around, Squirt? Thought I busted you wide open that time.
My Aunt Clara, you couldn't bust wide open.
Hey, don't you get a little tired bouncing up and down all day?
Come on, Tarzan, put your frame where your mouth is.
Okay.
You give me just 10 more little pounds than that lad, and I'll give you the best Navy quarterback in 20 years.
Well, you're not really thinking of putting him on a...
Oh, no. No, of course I'm not, but how do you tell a kid like that he's too small to play with the men without breaking something inside here? Without ruining his spirit or his pride?
Yeah, I know what you mean. When something like Mr. Towner comes along, I'm glad you're head coach.
Midshipman Towner, 3rd class, sir.
Sit down. There's nothing official about this.
Thank you, sir.
Well, you had quite an afternoon for yourself. How do you feel?
Just a few bumps and bruises, sir. Like anyone else on the B squad. Nothing fatal.
Don't you think you've had your fun for this year?
Sir?
Well, I figured right from the first when you reported for practice that that's what it was with you, a gag, more or less. You just wanted to prove to those slugs on the squad that an ounce of dynamite was a bigger man than a church steeple. I got pretty much of a charge out of it. You proved your point right up to the hilt. Of course, I realize that you're clever enough to know that a man like you, well, a man 5'4" in his sea boots who weighs 125 pounds isn't going to make the Navy varsity.
129 3/4, sir.
Oh, yes, 129 3/4. Tell me, didn't you have a little trouble making the weight when you applied for entrance to the academy?
I sure did, sir. I ate bananas and drank all the water I could hold for 3 days before I took my physical. 1,000,000 bananas and tons of water. I was 2 ounces over the minimum, sir.
You must have really wanted to wear that uniform.
I did, sir. And I really wanted to play for the Navy, too, sir.
Well, I'm sorry, son.
I guess eating bananas and drinking water won't help me to fill a varsity uniform, will it, sir?
Do you remember what I told the squad on the first day of practice? That when a man gives all he has to give to the fullest limit of his ability all the time, that's being Navy.
I'm only sorry that I wasn't born with more to give. That what I have isn't enough.
Mr. Towner, I want you to know that it's been a real pleasure to have you on the Navy team. I'm only sorry that it was such a short cruise.
It was a pleasure and a thrill to serve under you, sir. Is that all, sir?
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Hail the pigskin gladiator.
The tiger going off into his lair to lick his wounds. You sick, Squirt?
No.
You hurt?
Can't a guy walk into his own room without having to go into a song and dance?
Let's have a look at you, mister.
Well, he's been bawling.
I have not.
Don't tell me your eyes are all red.
So I got something in my eye.
Both of them?
Look, a guy's entitled to some privacy, isn't he? Why don't you guys stop acting like you're my keepers in this cell?
Come on, Mouse, break down. Why don't you put your head on your old dad's shoulders and tell him all your troubles, huh?
You've been done wrong by, we'll fracture the party.
Ah, turn blue, will you?
You, have a nice talk with Coach Nichols?
You guys knew it was coming, didn't you? Both of you?
Didn't you?
Yeah, I guess I did. Even if I kept hoping it wouldn't happen. That's what made it kind of hard to take. It was a silly idea that the three of us are a team. One for all and all for one. That sort of stuff. Not just here at the academy, but after we get out. Just turns out I wasn't man enough to play along with you guys.
Mr. Brown, does it seem to you that Mr. Towner is feeling a little sorry for himself?
Mr. Gray, it seems to me very much also that Mr. Towner is feeling a little sorry for himself.
There's a sure cure for such morbid tendencies on the part of a future naval officer?
Oh, there is indeed, Mr. Gray.
Mr. Brown, get the broom.
Aye, sir.
Now, wait a minute.
Mr. Towner, this is for the good of your soul.
Come on
A
now.
warm
No,
backside
no,
makes for a contented mind. Mr. Brown,
no.
proceed to proceed.
Come on now, you guys.
Now repeat after me, Mr. Towner. I love my roommate.
Oh, I love my roommates, you slugs. Come on, quit it, will you? All right, you've proved your point. This is enough, isn't it? Come on now, put me down. Put me down, will you?
Doesn't feel right scrimmaging without the old ounce of dynamite, Midshipmen Towner.
Yeah, I miss the sight of him getting his lumps.
Where does he disappear to every afternoon, anyhow?
Hey, what is this, football practice or a meeting of the PTA?
Just try to kick that point. The law of averages say you have to make one at least.
Okay, Colin, kick it on the third. Break.
Hey!
Whose side are you on anyway?
Isn't there anybody on this team that can kick a conversion?
Well, if there is, I haven't been able to find him.
If we don't find him pretty soon, it's going to be too bad. Missing that extra point means having to make another touchdown.
Well, there's a profound observation, if ever I heard one.
Gee, Mr. Towner, that was 11 in a row.
Well, that one was a little bit off to the left. Let's try it again, huh?
Well, it's getting kind of late.
Okay, we'll call it a day after this one.
All right.
I hope he's better than anybody we have on the varsity.
That kid can really kick.
Yeah. Wonder whose kid he is.
Stop drooling. He'll probably grow up and go to Notre Dame or Georgia Tech.
Good evening, boys. That was a nice kick, son.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Towner.
Yes, sir. Midshipman Towner, second class, sir.
Mr. Towner's been working out with us Navy juniors all summer, sir. Boy, if we could play him on our team.
Just to keep in shape, sir.
All summer? Didn't you go home on leave after cruise?
Nothing to go home for, sir. My mother and father are in Europe this year.
Mr. Towner, was that kick you just made a lucky stab?
Lucky nothing, sir. Mr. Towner never misses. He can kick conversions with his eyes closed.
You don't say.
Well, he kicked all the points after touchdown for his prep school, sir. Andover. Never missed one in 3 whole years.
Is that a fact?
Yes, sir. But that's all I did, sir. I was too light to make the team there, too, sir.
Mr. Towner, why haven't you ever mentioned this proficiency?
No one ever asked me, sir.
You might have volunteered the information.
I was afraid it might seem like boasting, sir.
You draw some gear, report with the squad for practice tomorrow. And I don't mean the Navy juniors.
Yes, sir. Is that for part of the gag, sir? I'm not any heavier than I was at spring practice, sir.
Are you suggesting a direct order from the coach would be a gag, Mr. Towner?
No, sir. No, sir.
Good night, Towner.
Let's go! Go! Hey, yeah! That's 2! That's 2!
Towner,
Aye, sir.
get in there and boot that conversion.
Aye, sir.
Well, what do you know? It must be the little man from outer space.
The Navy juniors playground's that away, son.
One side, muscles. I'll show you how this should be done.
Hey!
Relax. It's only an Army game.
Don't mind me. I was just thinking, here I am actually doing all the things I've only read about. Well, you know, like pulling down the shades while going through Baltimore. Why is it bad luck to get even a glimpse of Baltimore while going to the Army game?
I don't know, but we're not taking any chances.
What's the score, Mr. Towner?
6-6, sir.
We'll go out there and make it 7-6, Navy.
Yes, sir.
Miss this one and I'll guzzle you.
Don't worry.
There are 3 minutes left to play. Make this one and we'll hold them for 3 hours.
It's up to you, Mr. Towner. Make it and we're in.
Towner, kick it on the second. Break.
Hey, break!
Hey, where's the squirt?
Yeah, where?
Locker room attendant told me Towner came in before the game was over. Never said a word, just came over to his locker and changed into his uniform. He didn't even take a shower, just walked out of the dressing room.
No one has seen him since?
No.
Probably just wants to be alone.
Yeah, that's what worries me. Did you see the look on his face when he missed that conversion? Looked like he wanted to die.
Well, come on, we've got to find him. What are we waiting for?
Give me a hand. I'd like to guzzle that little monkey.
Yeah, nobody I've talked to has seen him anywhere since he walked off the field.
Buses are almost ready to go back to the train. He'll be slugged good if he turns up missing.
And so will we.
You don't think I'm going back without him, do you?
You fellows seen Towner?
Towner? No. You?
No, he should be with his team. He should be. Only he isn't. There's nothing wrong, is there?
No, there's nothing that having my hands on that midget wouldn't fix. You better get going. Those buses are almost ready to shove off.
We've only got about 40 minutes before the trains pull out going back.
Fine. In a madhouse with 2 million people?
Hey, I just thought of something. Come on.
What makes you think he might have gone home?
Where else would he go?
Gee, I forgot that little dope lived right here in Philadelphia. How'd you happen to remember?
It's just our luck to find out his family has an unlisted number. No, here it is, Towner. Paul Andrews II, that's his father. Germantown? That's a suburb at the end of the world. Come on.
Is Mr. Towner at home?
No, sir. Mr. Towner and Mrs. Towner are abroad.
We need Midshipmen Towner.
Oh, you mean Master Towner.
Is he here?
Whom shall I say is calling?
Don't say anything. Just take us to Master Towner.
Aye, aye, sir.
What are you doing here?
What do you think you're doing?
I'm writing my resignation.
You're what?
Do you think I could go back to the academy and face the brigade? A guy who came up to his big play and muffed it?
You're going back no matter what you think.
No. It's better I look myself in the face right now, before it's too late.
Listen, If you're worried about missing that point after touchdown, forget it. It's one of those things. It can happen to anybody.
But it happened to me, and I have no excuse. I just failed in the clutch. It might be that someday, as an officer in command, I'd come up against another clutch play, and I'd choke up, freeze. I'd let the Navy down again. That's why I came home. And that's why I'm not going back.
Okay. So we're not going back with you.
But you can't do that.
Why not? We're in Hack already. Trains are pulling out of the station right now. We might as well resign, too.
But if you hurry, you can still make it.
Nope. Don't you remember the silly idea that we're a team, classmates, one for all for one, that sort of stuff? We couldn't run out on you any more than you could run out on us.
I'm sorry. I've ruined myself and you guys, too.
Not yet, you haven't.
Oh, but even if I did go back with you, it's too late. The trains have already pulled out. We'd never make it. And it would be a Class A offense.
They fly airplanes out of this town, don't they? Airplanes are faster than trains.
That's right. Planes are faster than trains. If we beat the brigade back to the academy...
We won't get a Class A. If we're lucky, we'll only get gigged for missing the muster at the train.
Coming, Mr. Towner? Or do we carry you aboard that plane?
So that's the statement I want to make, sir. Gray and Cullen and Brown brought me back. They took an awful chance to me, sir. We were lucky, too. We beat the train back by almost 15 minutes. In the excitement, we got away with it. But I felt that I had to tell you the truth, sir.
Well, Paul, if you're guilty of a breach of regulations, it's up to the executive department to discover it and assign your punishment. It's not in my department. But I'm glad you told me.
I intend putting myself on report, sir, without involving the others.
Well, that's between you and your own conscience.
Thank you, sir.
Do you remember what I told the squad first day of practice?
Yes, sir. You said the thing of greatest importance to each of us as individuals is that we give everything we have to give to the fullest limit of our ability.
Do you think you could stuff yourself a little bit more between now and next season? Maybe blow yourself up to 135 pounds?
Yes, sir. Even if it kills me.
Well, then we'll have another crack at trying to prove that an ounce of dynamite is a bigger man than a church steeple. At quarterback, Towner. Varsity quarterback.
May I just leave, sir, without trying to say anything?
Go on, get out of here. Yes, this is Annapolis, the United States Naval Academy, proud of its dignity, its history, its traditions, but most of all, proud of its men. Next week, we will bring you another story of the men of Annapolis. Towner was played by Jack Diamond. Commander Nichols was played by Robert J. Stevenson.